Once again, it has been a struggle to keep up with events in the United States, and not just for me, but for the country's trading partners and importers, all wondering what is going to happen next in President Trump's trade war. Remember, this time last week, the Supreme Court was laying waste to virtually all of his tariffs, adjudicating them to be unconstitutional because he used emergency powers to impose them instead of working with Congress to get the job done as the Constitution requires.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
That was the president last Friday afternoon, flaying the court, and particularly two members of it who he nominated, now considered traitors and turncoats by a man who fails to understand that the justices are not politicians. Just because 6 of them were nominated by Republican presidents does not mean they will automatically back Republican presidents in every case that comes before them. And indeed, the president should know that, because on some issues, justices on the bench who were appointed by Democrats have infuriated their party by siding with him in earlier crucial cases.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
So by the time Tuesday night's State of the Union address rolled around, the White House was being deluged with calls from countries all over the world. Unclear what the president had meant over the weekend when he announced new across-the-board tariffs of 10, maybe even 15%. And American businesses, including shipping companies like Federal Express and UPS, wanted to know what's happening about refunds, given that his government has collected more than $150 billion in duties that it should now be giving back. Would he indicate any softening of his line? Would he? Heck.
Despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
That speech displayed more front than Harrods, a defiant doubling down on tariffs, no refunds in the offing for anyone, at least not without a lengthy court battle. A president who himself has been convicted of fraud put Vice President J.D. Vance in charge of rooting out fraud wherever he can find it. He insisted the economy is in fine shape because the stock market is soaring, said everything going wrong in America is not his fault but Joe Biden's, which took us to the most dazzling piece of political theatre. In a speech that defied claims by Democrats that he's slowing down, losing it, afflicted with ailments that the White House hasn't disclosed, President Trump demonstrated to his core followers that in warning American voters not to return to the Democrats, he can still pull it out of the bag when he wants.
The only thing standing between Americans and a wide-open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you.
That was the shot. Then came the chaser, bold as brass, from a man whose masked ICE and Border Patrol agents gunned down 2 American citizens on the streets of Minneapolis only last month.
Tonight, I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
The Republicans leapt enthusiastically to their feet. Democrats sat on their hands looking shell-shocked as almost 2 minutes of applause engulfed the chamber in scenes that Trump backers turned into a new TV advertisement less than 24 hours later. 2 Democrats raged at Trump, one of them calling him a murderer. But with the midterm elections that will determine the balance of power on Capitol Hill gearing up, the president rammed his message to voters home.
These people are crazy, I'm telling you. They're crazy. Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh?
Now, none of that is necessarily going to be enough to turn back the tsunami that is Trump's collapse in the polls. On the eve of that speech, 63% of voters told a Washington Post survey that they disapprove of Trump's performance in office, and a whopping 73% of floating independent voters told CNN they don't like the job he's doing. Those numbers, Democrats must hope, are insurmountable. Governor Abigail Spanberger of Virginia delivered the party's official rebuttal and tried to bring any voters still watching after the longest State of the Union address in history crashing down to earth.
Let's speak plainly and honestly. And let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you? We all know the answer is no.
Battle is now joined in the midterms. We've got a very long 8 months ahead of us until Election Day. And at some point between now and then, Republicans must be privately worried that the Jeffrey Epstein scandal is going to blow up in the president's face.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times.
But Hillary Clinton made it clear during testimony that she gave to the House Oversight Committee yesterday that while she can't help the Epstein probe herself, she knows a man who can. She urged the committee to depose President Trump, who definitely knew Epstein and hung out with him. And this week, there were fresh revelations that FBI investigators in 2019 interviewed a woman who claimed Trump and Epstein had abused her in the 1980s. The FBI talked to her not once, as documents released to the public at the end of January suggested, but 4 times. Congressman Robert Garcia is a Democrat on the committee.
The interviews and information around this survivor have been removed and are missing from the DOJ files. Where are these files? Who removed them? Those questions have to be answered.
And while the committee was busy this morning questioning former President Bill Clinton, Trump's Department of Justice says it is trying to find those missing files, and if it finds that they were improperly withheld from the public, they will be released. Let's see how long that takes. Meanwhile, following Lord Mandelson's fall from grace over his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, for the UK there is suddenly a new sheriff in town, introducing himself this week to the American public.
Hello, I'm Christian Turner, the new British ambassador to the United States. It's a great honour to be back in the USA, where I served early in my career and where both my children were born. This is a momentous year for the great partnership between our 2 countries.
And indeed it is, given that America's 250th birthday is right round the corner. Ambassador Turner's welcome gift from the Trump administration came this week in an unexpected form, underscoring the president's determination to boost the political prospects of far-right figures all over Europe. America finally opened its door to Stephen Yaxley Lennon, the agitator who calls himself Tommy Robinson.
I know I should be in a suit, okay, but I can't wear a suit and wear my Don't Tread on Me Randy Fine Congressman t-shirt. And we're walking through this corridor to meet Congressman Randy Fine. I only bought 1 suit, yeah? I only bought 1 suit because I only knew I was coming day 4.
How Mr. Yaxley Lennon came to enter the United States is a mystery. He's been barred since 2013 when he was convicted of travelling to New York on someone else's passport, sentenced to 10 months in jail in the UK for that offence. And anyone with a criminal record usually has to go through a very lengthy process, even to be considered for permission to enter the US. But Tommy Robinson was welcomed this week to Congress, to the State Department for what the administration claims was an unofficial tour of the building, even though it was given by a senior advisor to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And he made in-studio guest appearances on propaganda TV outlet Real America's Voice, much favoured by the Trump administration.
That's going really well. I'm having a great reception, meeting fabulous people. We have looked at the calendar and literally I've filled up every minute of every day. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. And as I said, I keep saying this, I feel relaxed here. I feel really relaxed.
And indeed he should feel that way, given that far-right conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer, a hugely influential figure in Trump's Oval Office, said on social media on Wednesday that Tommy Robinson is a hero who should be granted asylum in the United States. She called him a true political refugee, exactly the kind of description that may one day come in handy, given that the only refugees currently allowed to resettle in America are those of the white Afrikaner variety. All of this underscores that the new British ambassador and his boss, the Prime Minister, remain on notice, that they are not really Donald Trump's kind of people. And the White House will have noted the outcome of the Gorton and Denton by-election. The further erosion in the Prime Minister's position will undergird the President's determination to see him eventually replaced by a successor rooted in Trump's own ideology.